Next, coming up to the stage in a little while is the whole reason I showed up today. We have a keynote address from someone that we're very, very proud of. Natasha Singh is the president and CEO of a world-class health corporation here that we're all beneficiaries of. She's worked for a number of years at TCC as a general counsel. She's got degrees from UW and Dartmouth. She's the daughter of Carm and Renee Singh, granddaughter of the late Valerie and late Stephen Matthew. She's the mother of 3 children, Conan, Tigert, and Isaac, and they're also Caltech tribal members. It's going to start with a video, but let's do a warm AFN welcome for our keynote this morning, Natasha Singh.
I find it hard to find any healthcare system today that's owned by the people it serves.
Always take pride in Alaska Natives being a customer owner of your healthcare delivery.
We are the benchmark for the whole nation.
Everything has gotten better. Everything.
And gradually we're seeing the health of the people improve, right?
We've come a long, long, long way in 27 years, but it's still got a long way to go.
There's still a lot of confusion and frustration today.
The fiscal challenges are bigger than ever.
It's changing, but it'll change only if there's unity, and only if we're speaking on one voice, and only if they know we have political clout.
To me, unity brought us to where we are today with healthcare.
229 federally recognized tribes agreeing on anything is remarkable.
We should remember to thank those visionaries for having the courage to work together. Robert Clark, Ethel Lund, Jean Peltola, Will Mayo, Sally Smith.
Sitting next to her during negotiations, she just had this incredible way of pulling people together in the most loving way. And if the loving way didn't work, then it was sometimes necessary for her to deploy the tough love.
I think that it's going to need continual nurturing.
It's not going to be easy, number one.
It takes time, money, and effort, but it's always team.
It's all under the same cause. Better healthcare and preventive and diagnoses of our people.
When we negotiate together and we are united, we get much better outcomes. And we are always, always better together.
Unity is strength. Hold each other up. Stand tall and be strong. It's like a war cry.
You put a big giant telescope together to look 40 years down the road, and you anticipate what you need to do for the next generation.
We're accountable to our families. We're accountable to our children and our grandchildren and people who come after us to make sure that they have what they need.
You have to fight for what you believe is right. Every people, everywhere.
Getting people to sit at the table, talk on the issues, know the agenda, do the research, have an opinion.
We want to be on the cutting edge, the laser cutting edge. Be the best of the best. Be the elite.
Things change and evolve, so we have to change and evolve with it.
There's no common enemy. There's common cause, healthcare, better healthcare.
All of you. Stand tall and be strong. That's unity. It's a war cry. Be strong. To me, that's what unity means.
Good morning. Thank you to Co-Chair Anna Hoffman, Co-Chair Joan Nelson, President Ben Malott, and the Alaska Federation of Natives Board for the warm invitation. I also recognize the elders, tribal leaders, delegates, veterans, and our Native community. We're all working to enhance and promote the cultural, economic, and political voice of the Alaska Native community. The collaboration, connectedness, and shared responsibility for the well-being of our people have been on full display in recent days. My heart is with everyone impacted by the recent coastal storms. I stand with the YK Delta leaders in calling for an immediate federal disaster declaration, making FEMA resources available now to restore a sense of stability after all they've endured. While the damage is so vast, the love for our people is even greater. And even as we feel the pain and the loss, I also feel a sense of inspiration to see so many people reach out to help. My Koyukon name is Setlo Keonsetle. I was pronouncing it wrong for a while. I was saying Setla, which means my Koyukon name is Setlo Keonsetle. I work with my hands. My hands are working. But I was saying Setla, and means I work for uncle. But I do work for all the aunties and uncles, so that's true. I'm a Stevens Village Athabascan Indian, and I grew up in Fairbanks. My parents are Carm and Renee Singh. My maternal grandparents are the late Stephen and Valerie Matthew, and my paternal grandmother is Lucille Lopez. My husband, Drew Olson, is from Caltag, a village that has been raising me since I was a teenager. Now we're raising our 3 children, Conan, Tiger, and Isaac, on Dena'ina lands here in Anchorage. To give you an idea of the kind of person I am, all my homies are from Fort Yukon and North Pole. I was a bit surprised AFN thought a Koyukon, Fairbanks native attorney from the Yukon Flats could bring us all together at such a polarizing time in our nation and state, and just when Doyon is back in membership at AFN. The convention planners are risk takers. Exciting. Big risks and big change are exactly what we need to make generational impacts. When he heard I was giving the keynote address, Jerry Isaac called me right away to give me advice. He said, "Don't be controversial." He said, "Bring everyone together." Now, this advice goes against my natural instinct and happy place of being adversarial. Doyon, those sneaky devils, sent the right guy to talk to me. A while back, when I was working for Jerry at Tanana Chiefs Conference, I'd broken up with my boyfriend at the time and was just pathetic. He had advice for me too. He said, "No problem. Go out, buy makeup, learn how to put it on, and you'll get another boyfriend." You know, I caught a few boyfriends that time, so I think Jerry knows what he's talking about. While I was planning for this moment, I thought of all the ways the audience could appreciate of how we're united. Maybe I'll roast my boss, ANTHC Chair Kimberly Strong. Regular roasts at AFN convention could really bring us together. But Southeast and us in tribal health know Chair Strong the best, so the comedy would probably be too regional. She's Tlingit from Klukwan down there in Canada. Then I thought I could start way back 13.8 billion years ago, when our atoms were literally smushed together before the Big Bang. But I thought that's too literal for this keynote. Then I considered talking about how God's love unites us all and fuels our collective work. Because if spiritual unity can't keep us together, nothing will. After all that contemplation, I landed on something that will surely get single one of us inspired: tax policy. But before I get to that exciting subject, I'll begin by sharing a little bit about myself, a middle-aged Fairbanks native, and the experiences that shape my perspective. I'm from the Yukon River watershed. My people have fished the Yukon since time immemorial. I've gotten us stuck on Tanana River sandbars too many times to admit, and I'll keep floating the Chena River every chance I get. At Hunter Elementary, several of our classmates ate half of their hot lunch, setting aside and carefully repackaging the rest to bring home to their toddler siblings, not yet in this hot lunch program. I knew my privilege every day, having a freezer full of traditional food. I was raised in a family of Native women with college degrees and men in the skilled trades, a privilege I don't take lightly. I was taught that overcoming racism by working twice as hard can result in a comfortable life. As a middle schooler, I witnessed my friend take her dad's old antibiotics because her parents couldn't take her to the doctor. I remember being shocked. At the very least, I knew our small tribal clinic could treat strep throat. Although paid for by the unceded lands of our people, access to tribal health and seeing a provider when I needed one was a privilege. Thanks to the leadership of TCC, the Chief Andrew Isaac Health Center is no longer small. It provides the best primary care in Fairbanks. Tribal health has come a long way, but community health has a long way to go. As rowdy young natives, a cop once pulled us over. Infuriated, he found nothing wrong. Our driver was sober, we were all of age, and there were no drugs. Frustrated, he shouted, "Life will catch up to you. I'll get you one day." Sadly, he was right. 15 years later, our driver, the most handsome Athabascan you'd ever meet, died by suicide. Life did catch up with him. I witnessed the Fairbanks criminal justice system wrongfully prosecute the Fairbanks Four in 1999, then watched 20 years later as the Fairbanks-based grassroots activism resulted in AFN standing united to demand the Four's freedom and ultimate release. As a Fairbanks native, I recognize street people are my people. We know we're not any better than those struggling with mental illness or addiction. We hear this in the prayers and actions of our native clergy who teach us if Jesus was in Fairbanks, he would go to those in need of love and care and provide it. Several decades into the decline of the Yukon River salmon, I briefly stopped at my relative's house in Stevens. She was able to put some fish away that time. We walked to her smokehouse where she took down everything she had and gave it to me to bring to my grandma in Fairbanks. In a time of scarcity, herself, an elder with no cash income, gave everything away. She had no possession of her hard labor. This selfless act forms the bond of our people, the most humbling sign of love. When everything else is going wrong, the generational grief that we experience every day is countered through the bonds with each other. the land, the waters, and species that provide us are an integral part of this bond. Who we are as Native people shape how we care for one another, how we tie our past to our present, and how we thrive. Our culture and our values are our source of strength. Whether you live in the city or the village, whether you're on the coast or in the interior, our values have endured. Our care for one another is in the missions of our collective organizations. Many of us are working towards the same simple goal: healthy communities and healthy people. The truth is, not everyone understands how Alaska Native people and culture have shaped Alaska. As I was preparing for today, I was reflecting on our shared economic and political power we hold in this room. When we come together united in focus and purpose, we are a force to be reckoned with. The Alaska Tribal Health System is just one example of this. Our parents and grandparents, and many gathered here today, remember what it was like before tribal health services existed. Not me, I am far too young, but I'm told back then federal health care was a one-size-fits-all system. Native leaders knew our families deserved more. In 1968, tribes created the Alaska Native Health Board to advocate for health issues. That advocacy led to the Indian Self-Determination and Education Assistance Act, allowing the government to contract with tribes. Over the next several years, tribal health organizations began assuming management of IHS hospitals and clinics in Alaska. Then in 1992, Congress gave tribes the opportunity to enter self-governance compacts through demonstration projects. This opportunity could be transformative, but IHS was limiting Alaska to one project. How was a place like Alaska, home to 229 tribes and more than a dozen tribal health organizations, going to move forward? TCC President Will Mayo called for unity. Rather than regions competing, he encouraged them to apply for the project under one agreement. This ultimately led to the 1999 approval of the All Alaska Compact. It became the only multi-party compact in the country. This single compact has 26 co-signers representing 229 federally recognized tribes and 26 individual funding agreements. It's an umbrella agreement authorizing tribes to operate health programs and setting terms of the government-to-government relationship with the United States. Rather than negotiating with IHS in silos, we speak in a unified voice. From the beginning, Alaska's compact requires tribes to uphold consensus, unity, and transparency. To be clear, unity doesn't happen on its own. It takes real effort and a shared commitment. As a tribal caucus, we're often in disagreement. Extreme underfunding of our services could divide us, but we overcome. We listen to one another. Even the Athabascans listen. We don't set aside differences, we embrace them, we understand them, and find the glimmer of common goals. The compact requires a willingness to compromise. We must show up, be accountable, and support each other even when it's not easy, even when we could hold out for best outcomes for our regions. We yield to a higher purpose to ensure each region and the smallest co-signer enjoys a fair outcome. From the creation of the Alaska Native Health Board to the compact and now management, this represents the work of an entire generation. What do we get from all the years of work, focus, and unity? Services offered by Alaska tribes, including specialty care at the ANTHC hospital, are far more advanced than anything seen by tribes in the lower 48. In some of the most remote locations in the world, our services are among the best care in rural America. Tribal Health developed care models that maintain clinical integrity and patient safety. We designed culturally appropriate provider types like health aides and community practitioners and the training and standards to support them. Together, we reimagined the way health services could be delivered to our loved ones. To this day, because of our unity, we've leveraged our ability to meet regional and statewide priorities. Now, thanks to many organizations in this room, we've moved forward together in pursuit of ANTHC's ownership of the Alaskan Native Medical Center from the federal government. Despite the extreme funding shortfall, with Congress only providing half of the funding we need, Alaska can achieve better health outcomes than our lower 48 peers because we choose to stand strong and stand united. Now consider our economic power. GDP, or gross domestic product, describes the value of everything Alaska produces each year. Every visitor who comes to our glaciers, every fish we catch, and every barrel of oil pumped. Think of it like the state's report card on our economy. The more we produce, the higher the GDP. The Alaska Tribal Health System contributes 7% of Alaska's GDP. We create more than 25,000 jobs for Alaskans and over $3.7 billion for Alaska's economy every year. Alaska Native corporations, you make up 22% of Alaska's GDP at a value of $11.1 billion. That's almost 1/4 of Alaska's total GDP. Within Alaska, our corporations employ more than 17,000 people. Outside of Alaska, you create another 32,000 jobs. Let me put it in terms to drive home how big our economic impact really is. Organizations that exist by Alaska Native people, for Alaska Native people, contribute more to the GDP than tourism, than government, more than oil and gas, and our people and organizations contribute immensely to every single one of those sectors. Representing just 20% of Alaska's population, Alaska Native people and our organizations carry far more economic impact than our weight. The annual Federation of Natives Convention is our way of telling Alaska, you're welcome for our excellence. While economic challenges may lead some residents to seek work elsewhere, Alaska Native people remain rooted on this land as we've always been. The Alaska Native population continues to grow, and as our population grows, so does the responsibility to ensure communities have what they need to thrive. Healthy communities don't happen by accident. They're built on access to basic health care, well-funded public schools, and the fundamental promise of safety through trusted law enforcement. We invest in these pillars, we give every Alaskan the chance to live. Though our people play a vital role in sustaining our state's economy and population, we continue to feel the desperate impacts of public safety challenges. Everyone in this room understands the rates of violence that plague our communities. Generational trauma doesn't fix itself. our small, mighty tribes have been building justice systems to elevate community standards and end recidivism. The state and criminal justice systems say to defendants, you don't love yourself, the community hates you for your mistakes. That's not our way. The tribal system seeks to rebuild families and help our communities find themselves. Ideally, when we see behavior that doesn't align with our Native values, we surround that person with care and accountability. We need resources to do that, including safe housing, family foster placement, and pathways to treatment and reentry services. It's a basic formula that looks different in every community depending on how a tribe or region builds it. Safe Alaska communities are possible. Huge changes are in front of us, just as huge changes were in front of our grandparents. To give our children the future they deserve, their safety must be the focus, the priority, and where we take all our risks. Our Native entities have created the jobs, but to support the whole person, we must address community safety. This means ensuring we have the law enforcement to deter criminal activity and respond when it happens. Our first responders are vital to communities. They deserve the salaries that reflect the risks they take every day. They should be given the tools like behavioral health units, pilots, airplanes, and fuel to make it out to our villages for a timely response. And law enforcement should be Native. Think of the 51 rescued this past weekend. Thanks to the swift, united, and well-resourced response by the U.S. Coast Guard, Alaska Army National Guard, and Alaska Air National Guard, 51 Alaskans are still with their families from the YK Delta. In the same way, we must ensure that annual funding dedicated to our rural public safety is used to meet the needs on the ground. This requires consultation with tribes and tribal partners who are on the front lines, delivering vital services and building justice systems connected to the tribal health system. We've been laying the groundwork for safe communities and making progress. We need state leaders to partner with us to invest in our children and future. Safety is only one part of the equation. Lasting community stability also depends on robust education. Preventing crisis starts in the classroom, not the courtroom. Behind every statistic is a real story, and like many of you, I walk the halls of Alaska schools myself. I recognize my experiences, one that revealed the power of a good education are opportunities not everyone in the community has access to. And still, the schools are the heart of our communities. I was taught Robert's Rules of Order by the late Hannah Carter in the 3rd grade as part of our well-funded Alaska Native Education Culture Club. She brought in Minto elders Charlie Titus Sr. and Annie Titus to teach us Minto songs. Later, Marianne Wheel taught us Tanana songs as part of the JOM program, writing out the Danaka words on the chalkboard so we understood our own voice. I am a child of the Rural Student Services Lobby at the University of Alaska Fairbanks, where my mom pursued her degree while working full-time, and my dad pursued his apprenticeship while raising me and my 2 sisters. I was taught in elementary school by 2 Native educators at a time when the state focused on graduating Native teachers. To Mr. Charles and Ms. Dullen, you gave me the personal confidence and taught me that Natives are amazing teachers and advocates. I had the honor in high school to be taught by 2 Vietnam veterans. Mr. Gonzalez and Mr. LaRue, who taught me some about the costs of war and the importance of quality public education to produce students with critical thought. Graduation is the best season for Native people. We celebrate each graduating pre-K, high school, college, PhD, skilled journeyman, and health aid certification. These accomplishments give us hope for a future where everyone has the ability to reach their dreams. We celebrate our students in the arts, music, and sports. These cannot be on the state's chopping block. The first time I was proud to live in Anchorage was when I went to watch Elena Mack from King Cove play for the UAA Seawolves. In the ticket line, a young voice proudly said, "Number 20 is my cousin. She is all of our cousin." Basketball brings Natives together. Basketball is healing. So many entities in this room donated hundreds of thousands of dollars each to support the University of Alaska Fairbanks Trothieta Indigenous Studies Center. I am so proud we're standing together to support Native students at UAF. UAF will be the premier academic institution for Indigenous studies, where Native students are supported and their cultures are celebrated. We know school is more than just a building. It's where young people come together to grow and dream, where teachers ignite curiosity, build confidence, help students see what's possible. When our schools are strong, our communities thrive. But we know the hard truth behind Alaska's education statistics. Alaska schools are struggling and our students deserve better. Unfortunately, philanthropy alone doesn't address the state's education needs. Alaska is facing an education crisis. We rank among the lowest in the nation when it comes to student test scores and academic performance. And while our students struggle, the resources meant to support them have fallen further and further behind. Over the past decade, before the recent funding increase, Alaska's education funding rose to just 10%, while inflation and the cost to provide education climbed 39%. This means schools are being asked to do more with less. They deserve the level of investment necessary to ensure that schools can provide quality staff and programs essential for an opportunity to graduate from high school prepared. Not all communities in Alaska start at the same starting line. Fair funding provides enough resources for all students. It offers additional support for high poverty districts or in areas where students need to make strides to reach our state's educational standards. And beware of school compacting. Compacting works in tribal health because we have the ISDEA that requires contract support costs and 105L funding. Alaska classrooms hold the future of our communities, our state, and even our nation. When we invest in them, we invest in hope, in progress, and the promise of what all of our organizations are working to achieve. We must produce Natives with critical thought, confidence, ready to take on the rapidly changing world. With the state revenues in decline, we face a stark reality. The essential services that hold our communities together are at a breaking point. Oil and gas revenues once made up the largest share of the state's general fund, at times contributing 90%. That is no longer the case. In FY26, oil revenue is expected to account for about 25%. For decades, state leaders have avoided tough decisions, drawing down savings and remaining heavily dependent on a single unpredictable revenue, refusing to provide the public information needed to create the political will for a new tax base. Consider Alaska's capital budget. This funding supports essential community projects, infrastructure, and schools. Over the last decade, investments in this critical budget were less than 1/3 of the funding than in the previous decade. Additionally, the state's deferred maintenance backlog is over $2 billion. In FY26, the state could only afford to fund $40 million for deferred and major school maintenance, the line item that ensures we build adequate school facilities in our villages. Basically, we're broke and we're past due on rent. Our children deserve better, our villages deserve better, and our state deserves better. Many of us have a knee-jerk reaction to stand together around a full permanent fund dividend. Our people need it for groceries, fuel, clothes, and necessities. But this is a distraction. This year, a full PFD was estimated to be nearly $3,900. To put it into perspective, the total cost to the state for that payment alone would be $2.5 billion, while the total cost of all other state services that I've been talking about that we need for healthy communities is about $4.5 billion. Is the one-time $2.5 billion payment more important than every other service our state provides, like education, public safety, and infrastructure that supports healthy communities? Certain politicians want us to fight for a full PFD, knowing we can't afford basic community services and a full PFD together. They then can say, the people want a full PFD, so cut education, public safety, Medicaid, power cost equalization, and the Alaska Marine Highway System. For some, the plan is not to create revenue, but to drain all of the state's reserves while cutting basic community services. Their plan is no plan, and now we feel these impacts. The YK Delta is in crisis. Entire communities have been displaced by a natural disaster. More than 1,000 Alaskans are without safe housing, power, transportation, and basic essentials. What's the state doing to build resources over time that keep communities healthy and strong? Like courageous members of our Bush caucus, I will not lie to my people. There is not enough revenue to support healthy communities and a full PFD. And anyone who promises a full dividend and the budget that helps healthy communities is not being honest. We simply don't have the money to pay for it. Fundamentally, a budget is a values document. It reflects what we're truly willing to invest in. We should only elect leaders who are willing to enact tax policies that align with our vision for healthy communities. Otherwise, communities are left behind and uncertainty hangs over our economy. We can't plan for the future, let alone build the kind of communities we deserve. Alaska and our Native communities deserve bold leaders, from our governor to our legislatures, who prioritize policies and funding that will bring strong, resilient communities where everyone can thrive. Every successful state in this country has diverse tax revenues, and all of us should demand it. When we stand united and stand strong in our voting power, we decide who gets elected. Just this month, Maureen McGinty and her other Fairbanks friends, fueled by their children's education, contacted 1,000 natives urging them to vote. Maureen got natives to the polls and changed the outcome of the election. We need Maureen's momentum. We need this to spread across Alaska this year and really show up to the polls in a year from now. What's truly powerful about Native people is our unshakable resilience. We know how to endure and rise with strength. We know how to adapt, and we know how to stand together. When we come together united to demand our children have the tools to thrive, we're driving the impact our ancestors are praying for. For decades, AFN has been a place where our people and organizations come together, the place where we stand on the shoulders of giants before us and envision the future of our descendants. With so much at stake, AFN must be more than a place to create a wish list of our individual entity priorities. We must unite around bold action, shared priorities, and come together as a single voice. When we advocate together, our message is louder and our impact is greater. If there's one thing we can all agree on, it's that every healthy community needs access to health care, strong education, safety, and stability. Let's do more than agree on these fundamental pillars. Let's pass resolutions that matter. Let's stand together, raise our voices, and demand the investments and the action our people deserve. Our Native values have proven our ability to transform communities and propel economies. Maybe it's our geography, our climate, or just who we are. We do what is needed to help each other. When there's a storm and a neighbor's home floods, we wade through the waters to make sure they're safe. My hope for our generation is that we'll stand united like those who came before us, that will demand policies, funding, and programs that hold up the pillars of strong communities. Together, we'll create healthy villages and cities. We'll build a healthy state and a bright future. More and more kids will have the same opportunities that carried me to where I am today, until the privileges I experience are just the way things are. In closing, have a fruitful AFN. Ladies, put your makeup on. Everyone, go to the basketball games, sing your native songs, trade your native foods, shop at the vendors, schedule your colonoscopies. Shout out to Norma Dahl and Sister Scotty for this vest. And my natives, while you're in Anchorage this week, keep your head held high. Unite as a proud people, because this is our state.
I'm Brian Ridley. I'm the Chief Chairman of the Tanana Chiefs Conference, and we just can't say enough how proud we are to see one of our own running ANTHC. And real quick, if I can tell a very fast story. She came to our annual convention potlatch this spring, and I put her on the spot and I said, speech, speech. And she talked forever like lawyers do. And at the end of it, I said, so what I'm hearing you say is you're going to make ANTHC great again. So with that, we have some gifts. We have slippers made by Anna Frank from Minto and a hair clip by Emma Hildebrand of Northway.
Good morning, folks. My name is Chris Simon. I am chairman of the board for Doyon Limited, and we are all proud of one of our own, Natasha Singh. Unknown to a lot of people, I worked at Tanana Chiefs for 3 years, and I was in health administration, and I had a boss, then she had a boss. But by the end of year 2, I would call Natasha boss. So I know she was going a long ways then. And had I known she was going to sing such high praises for Doyon, we would have probably joined last year. So on behalf of Doyon Limited and its shareholders and its board of directors, we have a cruise for you, and that is the Portage Glacier Cruise south up here for when you have a tough day at the office.
Thank you. Good morning, Sharon McConnell, Fairbanks Native Association President. I'm here with our executive director and one of our board members, 2 of our board members actually, 4. I just want to say we are so appreciative of her leadership. This young lady really works on behalf of all of us, not just Interior Alaska, but the whole state. I just have to say something about over 20 years ago, I was the executive director of Doyon Foundation, which provides scholarships for the youth of our region. And she was one of our students. And I remember something came up, and it was kind of a dispute, and she really stood her ground. And I don't even know if Natasha remembers it or not, but she really stood her ground. And I thought, wow, she is going to be a leader, and she's going to be a great attorney. And throughout the years, I've watched her as she has become a leader and served all of us. And I just want to say we're so appreciative of your leadership, Natasha. Thank you for everything you do, not just for our region, but everybody here. And, you know, as Native people, we're not to be boastful or prideful, but I just have to say, I am so proud of you. Just like, thank you.
And just super proud of Tasha. We've been friends since we were young. And on behalf of our board, we have a gift made by Norma and Scotty Dahl. And I want you to open it because I think you're going to love it.
Norma and Scotty are selling these downstairs, so go check them out.
So I think for the moment, last but not least on the gifts are from the AFN Board of Directors. We have an ivory bracelet that was made by Ron Ozena from Diomede. And just a real, how about a huge AFN Koyana Gunashchish to actually all of our healthcare providers and for doing all the work they do. And also, I saw Chair Strong in here somewhere. Chair Strong, raise your hand if you're still here somewhere, I'm sure. Gunashchish to all, because we know it does take all of our regions working together to make all this happen, to have the most incredible healthcare system in the world. It's going to take a lot of work. And I want to thank Natasha for being that bold leader and putting a lot of real things on the table for us. We do have our work cut out for us, and as Native people, it's our time. It's our time. So on behalf of the AFN board, thank you.
Thank you.